right now. So what's going on, guys? I am here with Mr. Phil. And Mr. Phil is one of our, is our first $10,000 a month champion. Whenever someone does $10,000 in sales or more in a 4-week period, we hop on a video chat and we chat with that person and kind of learn a little bit about their background and kind of what they're doing. So thanks for coming on and, hanging out for a few minutes with me here, Phil.
Oh, good to be here. It's good to be the inaugural winner of the $10,000 challenge. So,
100%.
yeah.
So I guess if you would, Phil, if you, before we kind of get into the, I guess the nitty gritty of it, would you share with us a little bit about your story and kind of what motivated you to, or what intrigued you to even get into marketplace dropshipping to begin with?
Yeah, no, for sure. So I've, well, number one, I think, I knew that I could trust you, with the program because I had bought David's program probably a couple of years ago now and was mildly successful with that. It involved a little more, getting out there, right, meeting people. It's hard for me to do with a full-time job and then, two small kids at home. And then when COVID struck, I stopped meeting people to be perfectly transparent. So what intrigued me about this was being able to work completely digital, like without having to, meet people face to face. So just the trust I had in you, and then, the fact that it was completely digital, and I felt, for the cost of the program that I could make that back in no time. And here we are. I've already made more than what I spent on the program. In about a month, right? Has it been a month? Maybe a month and a half. So, yeah.
That's awesome. Yes. Yeah. It's, I think we opened it up about 6 weeks ago. So, and I know you joined it, when we opened it up about 6 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So what are your sales for the last 28, 30 days?
Yes, I did. I think I posted them. I don't have it exact in front of me. I think it was around 12 and change, right? And then if we look at the scope from the inception of this thing, I'm at a little over 17K in sales, which includes being locked out of Facebook for, between the social security verification and being locked out. It includes about a week there probably where I was offline. And I've made about, I'd say like close to 30, a little over 3,500 in profit. So right around that, a little over 20% on the sales so far.
That's solid. That's awesome.
Yeah.
What are you averaging a day in profit? I know it can kind of fluctuate, but just kind of average now.
Yeah. Last time I checked, I was doing about, I think like close to 130 a day in profit. But I wouldn't be surprised if that went up a little bit. Yeah. Since the last time I checked, I've had, yesterday I did 250. I had a few high $100 days prior to that. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's a little higher than that. But I'd say right around 130 right now.
Awesome. So about how much time a day are you spending on the business now?
So yeah, admittedly, I haven't hired a VA yet, which I know I need to do. That would probably save me a good amount of time, but I'm actually like really enjoying doing this. I don't know. It's like it's a bit therapeutic. I love making money. And like when I find an item that's hot and I can make some money off of it, I think a little bit of adrenaline kicks in. But I'm sure if I hire a VA, I could probably double the effort or, maybe even triple it. But I spend, so the kids go down right around this time. So like right around 8:30. And then usually I'll hop on for a couple hours. I'd say like maybe 2 to 3 hours right now a day, that I'm putting into this thing. But I am, during the day, like if someone messages me, I'm pretty like reactive. Like I won't make them wait. Like I'll usually, if I get a message on my phone, even if I'm working, I'll take time to respond. So I'd say 2 to 3 hours plus, a few minutes here or there throughout the day to respond to customers.
That's still not bad for not having a VA
Yeah.
and doing the work yourself and making that money that
Yeah.
you're making.
Yeah. So we've gotten very quick with like getting posts, getting the listings up, like with everything you provide in terms of like the templates and everything. It makes it super easy to get it up. I could create a listing in probably less than like 2 minutes now. I have it down to like a science.
Nice. So, I'm trying to think of some good questions to ask you, Phil. So let's say that someone is, let's say that someone is drop shipping on marketplace now and they're like, all right, I kind of, your story in and of itself is kind of inspiring because you work a full-time job, right?
Yeah, I'd say more than full time. I'm definitely putting in more than 40 hours a week right now. So yeah, for sure.
So you're doing that. And then I know you joined the the program 6 weeks ago when it was opened, or 5 or 6 weeks ago, and you're already averaging over $100 a day in profit. Let's say that they've been doing this for a few months. They're making maybe $30, $40 a day in profit. So they're having some success, but they would like to get to they'd like to have a $250 profit day like you had yesterday. What are, maybe just from your kind of experience, maybe some tips you might be able to share with them to kind of maybe help move them along?
Yeah. So well, first off, yeah, I've been victim to this myself. Like, so I don't know if it's appropriate for me to give this kind of advice since like I still fall into the trap of getting discouraged. So number one, like I'm always like hard on myself, no matter if I'm successful or not. I'm always hard on myself. And you'll post products where you get a very small amount of views. I always, in my head, I think 85% of what I post isn't going to be purchased. That's at least like if I, that's just completely anecdotal right now, but like if I actually went in and calculated how many items I actually sold versus what I have close to 500 items listed right now. I have 144 total sales, and a lot of those are like duplicate items. So like if you do the math, I'd say like maybe 15 to 20% of what you're posting is going to get purchased. So don't get discouraged like if people aren't buying like what you're posting. Like, and once you hit like a certain like when something clicks, like I hit a certain niche. Not that I only stick to that market, but there's a certain category of product that really took off for me. And I'd say actually there's a few of them. Like, and once you find one that starts selling very well, then you start finding similar items to post. And I think you talked about that prior. So that's one thing, is like I still use eBay, the eBay method when I am doing the research way more than like the popular item method. But I'd say now like 60% of the time I'm just searching Walmart in certain categories and posting them, based off of what I think will sell based on what's already sold, if that makes sense. And then also I don't just stick to Walmart either. I've sold from Walmart, Amazon. I did Office Depot, Sam's Club. I'm a Sam's Club member, so I took advantage of that. So like you don't just stick to one. I found some really good items on Amazon, believe it or not, that were cheaper than Walmart, which allows you to be a little more competitive with your pricing. So I'm probably just spitballing right now a few different ideas, but these are just some things that help me out. One last thing I'll say is like when I'm looking at Walmart, I like to look at sellers that are selling the same item for more than what Walmart has it listed for, sometimes significantly more. And in my mind, I'm like, if I could list it somewhere between what Walmart's selling it for and what another seller is selling it for, that might give me like a competitive advantage for those customers that do like to price shop, right? Like I might still be listing it at an attractive price and beating a price where they see it elsewhere. So those are a few things that go through my mind when I'm like, looking for items. So I don't know if that helps. I should probably stop talking. I just spitball a lot of different things out there.
Oh, that's very helpful. That's a lot of very valuable information. So let's see, different suppliers.
Yeah.
You kind of got a method for finding items, which is very, very smart. What are some of the besides getting locked out of Facebook? What are some of other challenges you've kind of faced over the last month and a half?
Yeah, no, I'd say that was definitely the biggest one. I haven't had too many like supply chain or distribution issues. Like I had, for the most part, I've had a few items that get delayed, but nothing that's been lost or anything like that so far. Again, being close to like 150 items sold, I haven't had any like shipping issues. I had maybe one or two returns total, which is probably like a really good rate. So I'd say maybe just like the amount of messages that come through at one time, like while I'm working my other job, obviously I need to be attentive there and putting in 100% to that. So I'd say maybe keeping up with messages sometimes could be tough. But I'd say being locked out, that was definitely probably like a low point, in terms of like discouragement. But I will say, like, you kept me level-headed during that whole process, and we came back, and yeah, we're doing well. So um, honestly, there's not like a lot that could go wrong. You know, like I haven't had a lot go wrong yet. Maybe those are my famous last words, but
This might be a little bit too kind of personal. And if it is, you just let me
no,
know.
yeah,
I'm just trying
yeah,
to think of
yeah.
good questions that'll help anyone watching this. When you got, usually when we get started in business, we have kind of fears in our head. So again, if you're comfortable answering it, what are maybe some fears you had either before you even took the leap or while you were getting started? And then what did you do to kind of put those to rest and kind of keep pursuing and building this?
Yeah. So I think one of the biggest like fears, I guess, you know, going into this type of business was like, you know, the whole, I don't know if it was like a moral thing, like, hey, I'm selling things more, you know, for more than what they could buy for somewhere else. Like, number one, will they find out? Right. And number two, like, is it ethically, like, is it the right thing to do? Right. And, you know, what I've told myself is, number one, what helped me a lot is seeing that, as I've already mentioned, like, other people sell the items for more than what I'm selling them for. Right. So like there's other, you know, I'm still giving these people like a relatively good deal. Um, and then number two, I just said, you know, basically, you know, when you compare like a lawn chair for the price we're selling it at versus like what they might see it on at Wayfair, we're still providing a pretty good deal to the client. And, you know, we're finding them a product that they may not have found on their own, right? So yeah, I kind of, in my mind, I'm like, I'm treating it as like a finder's fee, right? Like I'm finding this product for the client, something that they needed that they weren't able to find on their own. I'm giving it to them at a relatively good price, and I'm making a fee off of that, right, for facilitating that transaction. So that's how I kind of put my mind to ease on the ethics part of it, which you know, I don't know if that's the wrong or right answer. And then you know, number two, again, if they're going to find out, I will say, admittedly, I've stuck to bigger items that wouldn't traditionally ship, especially from Amazon, like that wouldn't ship in an Amazon box, right? Like when you think about like office desks or grills or, you know, these type of like patio furniture, these are things that are going to ship. They're too large to put in a box. They're going to ship in the manufacturer packaging. So I've really tried, and maybe that's the right or wrong thing to do, but I've really tried to stick to items to kind of offset some of that other fear that won't ship in an Amazon or Walmart box. And I know you have scripts to address when people you know, receive a Walmart box or an Amazon box, but I've you know, just to put that fear aside, you know, to alleviate that fear, I've stuck to bigger items that wouldn't ship in those boxes. And the third thing I'll say is like laying out the money for the course. Um, I wouldn't, it wasn't really a fear of mine. I just think maybe it's a fear for some other people, but you know, hopefully I'm proof, and you know, the trust that I've had in you from, you know, what you've done for electronic reselling and whatnot. Um, yeah, like I mentioned before, I've more than made the money back in a month and a half. So everything from here is just gravy, right? So um, yeah, so that was really it. I mean, outside of that, you know, nothing much, you know, nothing more than, you know, that made me uneasy.
Understood. Let's say that someone hasn't started this yet. They're watching that video. They're like, oh, I kind of like what Mr. Phil's saying. I kind of like the little beard he's got going on right there.
Overdue.
And I'm interested in getting into this. Do you think that this is saturated at this point?
You know, actually, that's another good point, because I've looked at. I try not to. I know one of your maybe I guess there's people watching. I'm not going to say what one of your strategies were, because they need to buy the course to see that. But I try not to look at other people's postings on Marketplace. I did it about a week ago. I went through and I'm like, let me just see what the competition's doing. And I found an item that has been probably my best seller. I must have sold 20 to 30 of these things, right? And I saw somebody selling it for less. And it like deflated me a little bit. And later that day, I sold another one without even decreasing the price. And I've sold probably 10 more since I've seen that same item posted for less by someone else. Um, so I try not to pay attention to that stuff. Like, is it saturated or not? As long as I'm still making money, I couldn't tell you if it's saturated or not. all I know is I'm making money, and I think a lot of people in the group are making money, and I think we can all make money together. If you think about the American population that, the American client base of Facebook versus the number of people drop shipping on Facebook is probably completely disproportionate. There's enough there's enough clients out there for everyone. So I don't think so, but I wouldn't know, to be honest. I try not to look.
Fair enough. I don't know if I'm doing myself a service asking these tough questions, but I don't know. They're good questions. And if anyone's watching this, the answer is it's not saturated. There's 190 million people that use Facebook.
Yeah, it's crazy. And there's so many different products you can list, like, and you could really start getting like really unique with like what you're posting that will make you stand out. And just being polite to people, which you do it with your scripts, Aaron, right? Like, I think I have 25 or 26 reviews now. I have like 10 5-star comments. And I think that stuff helps. Like, people look for like a trusted seller. I have one bad comment from this lady that like got something that was broken. She gave me 2 stars. But now there's been enough above her that have kind of like drowned her out, in my comment list. And I took care of her too, but she couldn't edit the review. So it is what it is. But I think that's important too, in terms of standing out from everyone else. Just make sure you're doing the right thing. Make sure you're sending the tracking numbers and being polite and following up like you recommend with your scripts, to get those reviews that will make you stand out from people that are just doing this for the money, and and really like you're not doing the right thing by people.
Got it. So I guess just 2 more questions, Phil. So, how does it feel making the money? You're averaging about $1,000 a week in profit. What's that feel like?
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I haven't like, I think as I go on, like, I think I just like, I'm still trying to figure out a way to like properly pay myself from this thing. I use like 3 different credit cards that each have their own different rewards based on like where I'm shopping. And I make sure to get in and pay those off right away, like at least once a week, like when I get paid, just so the interest doesn't build up. And I actually just paid myself the first time last week, from some of my profits. So I think ultimately, like, it's like, for me, like, I'm, by all means, I'm very fortunate. Like, I don't need to be doing this. I know maybe some people do, but I don't need to be doing this. But it does give us like a little bit of breathing room, right? Because my wife, we have 2 little boys, 5 and 2. And my wife's been staying home since we had our first son. So she's been home for 5 years. So we've been living on one income. And fortunately, we've been able to get by and have done pretty well. But this really allows us to breathe a little bit, right? Like, it gives us some breathing room. And with that first check, we actually got some, which is funny because I sell a ton of it, but we got some new backyard furniture, so the boys can play and whatnot. So yeah, that's what it's done for me. It's just provided like a little bit of breathing room, and it's kind of supplemented the income, like while my wife's able to stay home with the kids, and probably will be able to continue to do that because of this business.
That's awesome. An extra $1,000 a week could definitely help, when it's
profit. Yeah. It pays the mortgage, man, more than the mortgage. So, it's good.
100%. So I guess the final question, Phil, is any other things I think that I missed that you think might be? I'm going to share this, of course, with the members that are in the Dropshipping Marketplace Blueprint. I might post it on my wall too. So any other kind of words of inspiration or anything you could think of that, I don't know, might be valuable to someone in this business, thinking about getting started?
I think it's all happened like pretty quickly in terms of like the money coming in. So again, I think we talked about it a lot, but not getting discouraged. Like, at the beginning, I wasn't selling anything. I think I got so excited, like 4 or 5 days, maybe even a weekend. I think I made like an $8 profit. I'm like, oh my God, I got my first sale. And then just from there, like it kind of took off. Like, you just need to be consistent with the listings. Like, I probably didn't see like any like real steady money coming in until I was close to like 250 to 300 items listed. So you need to put in the work, right, to get the results. And here we are. Like, I have 500 listings now. I can't imagine, to your point. Yeah, I think you say this all the time, but what's it going to look like when I have 1,000 items listed, right? Like, am I going to be seeing $500 days? Possibly. Like, so I'm very green to this too. But I just say, like, just stay consistent. Like, just get your listings up, and don't worry so much about the views or the number of sales. Like, once you get to that 250 range, like, hopefully you start seeing, some steadier days.
Awesome. All right, Phil. Well, I appreciate your time. Thanks for coming on,
Yeah,
man.
yeah. No, thanks for having me, man.
No, you're welcome. I mean,
Appreciate
what you're
it.
doing is amazing. It's, you got started 6 weeks ago. There was a week that was off because Facebook, and I mean, cranking out hundred, about
Yeah,
$1,000 a
no,
week in profit's amazing. And it will
yeah.
continue to grow for you too, as your business continues to, as you continue to grow as well with the business.
No, and I appreciate it, man. I appreciate you putting this course out, and very, very happy with the results so far.
Sounds good. Well, I'm going to end this
Yeah.
now, and then let's hang out for a couple minutes afterwards and we'll
Sure.
chat, just kind of us.
Thanks, Aaron.
No problem. You're welcome.